dissect, Southside,
She a 10 over 10, let's not pretend. You ain't never seen a girl like this. Give me this and make me push on it. Give me the line, I'ma ring on it. Wine pon the best, get the boom boom say. The way you a move, get the ching ching say. Swiss and say me, yeah, we shall have the place. A girl like you need a bit of finesse. Me touch and I hold you with confidence. Like a comma in a dollar sign. We a spend, judge a design, girl, your body bless. Whiskey cups running up, never this way. Full bottle, we are order for the business. Whiskey cups running up, never this way. Full bottle, we are order for the business. Anna Marie, Anna Marie, Anna Marie, every girl that I need. Anna Marie, got me spending money. Anna Marie, get your homeboy whip. Here in the street, we no longer legit. Anna Marie, Anna Marie, Anna Marie, every girl that I need. Anna Marie, got me spending money. Anna Marie, get your homeboy whip. We here in the street, we no longer legit. That girl presidential, check her credentials. She a move like a nation, a united booty selection. Girl, you really need that attention. Me in love with your dental, me love your smile, the dimension. Anna Marie, what do you need, girl? You wine on me. The way you a twist and turn, baby, shell up. The way you a sit fun mood like a telly. Sitting in the club with the lights on me. International money spender. We connect the party, we a trendsetters. Anna Marie, Anna Marie, Anna Marie, every girl that I need. Anna Marie, got me spending money. Anna Marie, get your homeboy whip. We here in the street, we no longer legit. Anna Marie, Anna Marie, Anna Marie, every girl that I need. Anna Marie, got me spending money. Anna Marie, get your homeboy whip. We here in the street, we no longer legit. She a 10 over 10, let's not pretend. You ain't never seen a girl like this. Give me this and make me push on it. Give me the line, I'ma ring on it. Wine pon the best, get the boom boom say. The way you a move, get the ching ching say. Swiss and say me, yeah, we shall have the place. You really need that attention. Me in love with your dental. Me love your smile, the dimension. Anna Marie, what do you need, girl? You wine pon me. The way you a twist and turn, baby, shell up. The way you a sit fun mood like a telly. Sitting in the club with the lights on me. International money spender. We connect the party, we a trendsetters. Anna Marie, Anna Marie, Anna Marie, every girl that I need. Anna Marie, got me spending money. Anna Marie, get your homeboy whip. We here in the street, we no longer legit. Anna Marie, Anna Marie, Anna Marie, every girl that I need. Anna Marie, got me spending money. Anna Marie, get your homeboy whip. We here in the street, we no longer legit. When you see me in the club, Anna Marie on the club. When you see me in the club, boy, I'm a winter, my winter. Da-da-da-da-da. Anna Marie, yeah.
dissect, Southside Radio.
BOSS Radio, Southside Bosses, its owners and associates take no responsibility for the opinions or statements made by the talk show host or their guests. Statements or show topics are not necessarily the beliefs of the site or the radio station, and opinions between talk show hosts may conflict. This site does not endorse anything as the truth. That you will have to judge for yourself. But we try to speak the truth on the owner's behalf and reserve the right to question the supposed truth. In this time of misinformation, government-controlled media, and government corruption, it is sometimes hard to get to the truth, but we must try. It is not our intention to libel, discriminate, make hate, or annoy anyone. We believe that it is our constitutional First Amendment right of free speech to voice our opinions and our duty to the Constitution and country to expose the truth. This site takes no responsibility for the opinions of others and the postings of comments in chat rooms or forum posts.
What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, Mr. E-Boss of the Southside Bosses, and you know we are coming to you live here on Reggae Hour, where we got a great show for y'all tonight. That day y'all just got through listening to was Anna Marie with Tefera. She's coming straight out of Kenya. Y'all make sure y'all turn up for that. Check her out. She got some more wonderful, great music that y'all be able to check out coming straight from the motherland. But tonight, we're going to have a great show for you. Before I tell y'all about the show, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, that subscribe button, or that follow button, and make sure y'all find us on our Facebook page at BOS Says Podcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Southside Boss Connection. Find us also on TikTok at BOS Says _radio. You can go ahead and like our sponsor, which is SouthsideBeautyCare.com at SouthsideBeautyCare.com. You can find them also on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So make sure y'all go through and enjoy all of the free content that we got for you. So I'm telling you, we're here to make y'all bob your head, either think about what you're watching or whatever. We got it all for you. So make sure y'all come through and follow us. Tonight, we're going to be discussing that fiasco that's going on right now with the Roe versus Wade. No matter what your position is on that, it should be a very interesting position. So we're going to be talking about it. We have a couple of ladies on with our hostess, Mrs. E, in the building, and she's going to be conducting the conversations along with my homegirl Connie. So we'll be definitely introducing them as soon as we come back. And so I just want to go ahead and get a word in from our sponsor, Southside Beauty Care, and our other show, What Would You Do, which you can find on Sunday nights. You heard me? When we come back, we're going to get it kicking with the discussion of Roe versus Wade here on BOS's Radio.
Have you ever seen someone do something so outrageous that you can't help but think? This stupid crazy situations happen all the time, and people get into situationships on a regular. So, what would you do if you were in their place? Check out our podcast as we discuss just that on What Would You Do podcast on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and all your other favorite streaming services. Make sure to search hashtag What Would You Do podcast.
Skin and hair care makes the perfect gifts.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, especially when it comes in all natural forms for Southside Beauty Care. Our gift boxes include natural and raw black soap from Africa, hair and beard oil that will make your hair strong and shiny, beard balm with essential oils such as cedarwood, hoe wood, and more to style that manscape on your face.
I could use that.
Our signature skincare cream designed to quench your skin's thirst and make it shine like Bruce Leroy in The Last Dragon.
Did you just show your age?
Get your box today at SouthsideBeautyCare.com.
Big up the government of Kenya for honoring Field Marshal Honorable Delanky Marty. At the same time, when a bad man baffy jaffle, when a back flat. Wata kunita mungiki, waniwe, utuwe rasta na puja, utuwe akili dinyuele, atawe, unasako ufuge, wata kunita mungiki, waniwe, utuwe rasta na puja, utuwe akili dinyuele, atawe, unasako ufuge, kimati firul, nati Congo firul, for real firul, well, kimati firul, mau mau firul, for real firul, well, kimati firul, nati Congo firul, for real firul, well, kimati firul, mau mau firul, for real firul, well, last time I is answer I the father. Babylon them flex when them see the lion face. Fire we are born, none of them can cool. We burn them straight from the head to the toe. The youth man arise, Babylon I get weaker. Rasta everywhere from the north to the south, the east to the west, Rasta international. One go to Japan, you have to find the Rasta man. You run down to China, you find the Rasta man. Down in America, you find the Rasta man. Back in Europe, you have to find the Rasta man. All over the world, Rasta man everywhere. Watakunita mungiki, waniwe, utuwe Rasta na puja, utuwe akili dinyuele, atawe, unasako ufuge, watakunita mungiki, waniwe, utuwe Rasta na puja, utuwe akili dinyuele, atawe, unasako ufuge, kimati firul, nati Congo firul, for real firul, well, kimati firul, mau mau firul, for real firul, well, kimati firul.
Well, man Kenya is a young Kenya, you to better wise up. Young a Kenya, young Babylon, them to a trust that them never know. Judgment will run from them neck. Them out it a go past stand and like a nick. Still I say upon the throne, yell Messiah Gavin. Repatriation, Rasta man and declare. Fire upon Babylon, no matter what them try. Seem like the war could just start to down low. Clean up your heart just like the rainbow. Fire never fall you so. Well, see how them love, see how them like. Righteousness, you all of them codify. See how them love, see how them like. One corruption for them one fear. No one a name, Kim a fi rule. Natty Congo fi rule, for real fi rule. Well, Kim a fi rule. Mau fi rule, for real fi rule. Well, Kim a fi rule. Natty Congo fi rule, for real fi rule. Well, Kim a fi rule. Mau fi rule, for real fi rule. Me tell them again, Sakunita Mungiki. Kwaniwe, utuwe rasta na puja, utuwe akili dinywele. Atawe, unazako ufuke, wate kunita Mungiki. Kwaniwe, utuwe rasta na puja, utuwe akili dinywele. Atawe, unazako ufuke, wate kunita Mungiki. Kwaniwe, utuwe rasta na puja, utuwe akili dinywele. Atawe, unazako ufuke, wate kunita Mungiki. Kwaniwe, utuwe rasta na puja, utuwe akili dinywele. Atawe, unazako ufuke.
Kwaniwe, wacha. Hata wewe wacha. Kwaniwe, wacha. Hata wewe wacha.
Y'all already know. It's your boy, Mr. Ian. We are back in the building once again. We are going to be doing a wonderful show tonight. We're going to be doing a show about a topic that needs to be talked about. So I hope y'all are in tune. Right now, let's go ahead and let the ladies introduce themselves, and we'll get this on the way. Remember to go ahead and share this to all your family and friends so they can get this topic. We can discuss this in full. All right, we have our wonderful, beautiful co-host in the building right now. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, what's up? It's Miss Double E Square. How y'all doing tonight?
Already. I'm sorry. Hey, we got on the phone right now. We got my girl Connie in the building. Go ahead and introduce yourself, ma'am.
XO Radio. Hello, peeps. Much love to you.
Hello, Miss Connie.
Already. So right now we understand that there was some kind of a draft that was leaked out in the past in the recent 2 weeks that came from the courthouse, the Supreme Court, where it was stating that there was a possibility that the controversial Roe versus Wade will possibly be overturned. Possibly, I'm sorry, y'all, with dry lips. Possibly be overturned, and that means that abortion will be outlawed all across the country, or wherever states. Actually, it would just return the power to the states, and 26 states are ready right now to just get away with all abortions, make it illegal no matter what. My question, ladies, because this law we already know affects you all, so we really want to know what you all think about this, and where do you think this should be coming in. We actually got a new guest that joined in, so let's go ahead and introduce. Before we jump into it, let's go ahead and let the new person introduce themselves real quick. Hello?
Oh, this is Nikki.
All right. So we got Mickey in here. Mickey, we got Connie and Miss E Squared in the building. So let's, we were just discussing that it's Roe versus Wade. How do you? Let's go ahead and start with Connie. How do you feel about that?
Well, there's a lot to be said about this subject. First of all, my mother tried to abort me 3 times. It didn't work. Obviously, or I wouldn't be here talking to y'all. So I feel like I can go from one perspective to another. However, if I was a victim of a rape, I may not want to have that child. If I'm found out while I was in whatever trimester there may have been, that it's a given known 1,001% fact that my baby's not going to live 24 hours or 48 hours after it's born, I may choose not to have that type of bonding and go ahead and eliminate the situation. I'm not saying I do. I'm just saying in perspective. There's a very social stigma to that. I don't feel that people should use it as birth control. I don't feel that if you know who the father is, they should be involved in the fact that they may want to have the child because you don't want to, or whatever financial reasons, whatever it may be, that gives them an opportunity to raise that child that's theirs versus just the woman, okay? Unless it's an extenuating situation. I do believe that it is a personal choice that, like the Jewish religion believes that once you give birth, then it's considered a human, where Catholics believe that, conception is a human being. So that's always been a big controversy in that court case as well. At what point in time is it really considered a human being? I consider it a human being from the time it's conceived, because it takes 2 to make that grow, as the seed or whatever you want to call. At the time, it takes the sperm and the egg in order for that to grow. So to me, it's a human microorganism, whatever you want to call it, but it's still a human being at that point.
How is it not a human being at the first sign of the heartbeat? Because, the egg and the sperm can fertilize, but who's to say that it's going to be any viable tissue? It's not.
That's true. Well, to some it is. I'm just saying in general. To some people it is, though.
Right, and I get that, and I've heard that for years, but I'm just trying to understand on where that would come from, or why you feel that way, that it's a human being, or that it's a baby, or that it's anything at conception, because you don't know when you conceived. So by the time you find out you're pregnant, it's a heartbeat already.
Well, some people know exactly when they conceive.
They know the day.
Some people. Well, I'm not getting down to the seconds. I'm saying I know I got pregnant on such and such day.
Right.
Because they know, because they keep track of things. Right.
Right.
But
I get that.
There's a lot of people that believe. Yeah, but there's a lot of people that believe that once the sperm and the egg come together and they fertilize, that is considered a human being. Everybody has their own opinion about it, just like the trimesters, and that's how they, and Roe and Wade, that's how they got involved in the different trimesters as well.
Mickey, what do you think?
I've heard people say, "Oh, well, if it's not a baby, then you're not pregnant." I've heard people say that. So it really depends on the person and how they feel about it. Like she said, I agree with her. I agree with what she said. For some people, life begins at conception. For others, they wait for the heartbeat. Others wait for genuine movement. The law determines that it's not a baby until it takes its first breath. So, for me, when it comes to Roe v. Wade, is doing a lot more than just talking about, abortion laws. And abortion is not for me personally. I cannot do it. But I do understand that there are exigent circumstances. Like one, a woman to go do what she wants to do with her body, for one. Two, it's like, if you're raped, if incest, if it's going to kill you to carry its turn, if you have the right to choose your life over the life of the child, and some people would make that choice. Right.
I feel Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, from what I understand, what I've been, told, Roe versus Wade is doing more than just trying to reverse the abortion laws. It's also trying to do away with gay marriage and make, homosexual marriage and make that invalid. So it's affecting that community as well. And
how is it affecting that community? That has nothing to do with Roe v. Wade.
Actually, it's just the thought process when it comes in it. But if they overturn Roe versus Wade, it won't actually affect the LGBTQ community unless they decide to go after the new law that Obama got passed, where they allow gay marriage. It's just a thought process. If they win on Roe versus Wade, we won't say that they won't win on the gay marriage. But there are two totally separate situations, though.
I thought somebody was saying they were lumped together.
No. To my understanding, they're not. Roe versus Wade is completely separate. And with my views, I believe that, life starts at the heartbeat, because you don't know the exact time or date that you were conceived, but you will have a time and date when you hear that heartbeat. Now, if you get in and, you're going to hear the heartbeat. It may not be the very first heartbeat, but you're going to hear a heartbeat, and you can say, okay, according to my calculations, the child is at least, or the fetus, embryo, whatever you want to call it at that time, spermatogonia, whatever you want to call it at that time, it is 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and it's still growing. Now, I also agree with the Roe v. Wade, but I'm looking at there's certain situations. I don't agree with abortion being used as a form of birth control. And that's what I experienced a lot with a lot of females that I knew that were either in the military or they were in the, different government positions on where we worked, or just because they just didn't want to be pregnant. They didn't want to, be pregnant at the time. So next thing you know, they're going down to the clinic, either popping a pill, having a little surgical procedure, or, they're like, well, I already got 6 kids. I don't want another one. Okay, that's where you need to be careful. And that's where you need to, not only for the baby or the embryo or whatever you want to call it, but it's also for your safety as well. You can't just keep going in there having abortion after abortion after abortion and thinking that your womb is going to be okay. When you want to carry a child, then it's going to be harder for you to be able to carry a child then, if you're able to at all.
And well, that's why they try to come out with the fact that that's why it needs to be legalized. That way it can be done in a hospital up under proper medical staff. That way they can be able to catch whether, is this the 3rd, 4th, 5th abortion, will it does harm to you, or so on and so forth. That's supposed to be pushed in Roe versus Wade. But as you see, even though Planned Parenthood does some abortion, they don't do every abortion. So you don't know if you're really getting that kind of, looking, if they're looking out for you if you're going to get an abortion as of right now. Do you think that should be something that they should delve into, looking into, like how can it get regulated to the point where it is not as freeing as it is right now?
you have to understand, even if they don't allow abortion, you're still going to have that alley abortion.
Right.
You're just going to have those women that get the infections and die. I mean, or whatever. You know, you're going to end up reverting back into the 1800s and probably in the 1950s, for that matter. You know, to mid or late 1900s that we just finished. You're going to have that alley abortion.
Yeah, you was doing that in the 60s and 70s when they were still having alley. Well, I'm not saying you personally, but I'm saying that they were doing backyard abortions then in the 60s and 50s and 70s, and that's why it was such a big deal for Roe v. Wade to come out and to stand their ground. Now the Supreme Court is saying, all right, we don't want nothing to do with this. Y'all states can deal with it. Texas already said what they had to say.
Right, because it started in Texas, but what they did do is the Supreme Court did make that ruling that is individually state decision. They did that that was the final part of Roe versus Wade, where they broke it down, and that's when they broke down the trimesters and all of that sort of stuff. I mean, there was a lot more involved, and other than just saying, well, you can have an abortion. You know, they start breaking things down at that point. It is originated in Texas.
Okay.
Supreme Court.
Okay.
Do you feel that the male should know that you're pregnant and that what your decision is? And if he wants you to have the child, do you think that's still a matter of you making that choice or him making that choice for you?
I think it depends on both.
On that, I think I'm so back and forth on that because sometimes I have that thought like, well, what if he wants to be a dad? Like, what if he does want the child? Like, yes, the woman has to carry the baby term and give birth. She has to essentially lend her body to this child just so that the guy can have a kid. But I don't know. Sometimes I think, well, how is that fair, to him? Because she's not just getting rid of a child that she doesn't want. She's getting rid of half of this man who might want that child and, may want to be a dad.
Right. Well, that's part of his
he's not the one that's got to carry it.
Now, if I can on this. Yeah, I'm sorry. If I can, just on this one, let me chime in on this because me being a man, I only think that there's only one way for us men to actually have a real big say so, and that's who we decide to sleep with. If you want to be a father, make sure you're sleeping with somebody who wants to be a mother and wants to be a mother by you. I think that's the main thing that us men should be, because if you end up getting a woman pregnant that don't want to be a mom or don't want to be your baby mama, and well, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to take that lick, because at the end of the day, she can always sneak away and get that abortion, whether we disagree or we agree or whatever. At the end of the day, she's going to do what she wants to do.
Right. She can tell you that she was never pregnant.
Celibate. Right, they should be celibate until they're sure that the person they're having sex with, if they would happen to get pregnant, that's what they both want.
Correct.
How many people in this day and age discuss that?
And see, that's the thing. Until then, I don't think men can actually have a say so. Until you more conscious and more protective of your willy and make sure it ain't going in any nilly, I don't think you really have any choice in the matter. I mean, it's like you put your valuables in a broken safe.
Or better yet, this way, I bet you if the women who did not want to have children, yeah, I get it, excuse me. I get it, they're going through 9 months and stuff like that. If they have the baby and sign all rights away, their rights, but make the father take all the rights, you would not have a lot of children in foster care. You would have a lot of more children probably getting aborted. I mean, I'm just, excuse me, I'm just giving my opinion on that part. I don't see a lot of men that would be willing to take the child.
I just again, we're talking about the men here, so I mean, I want to say I disagree. I know plenty of men. You know, I've been around both men that was deadbeats and men that was good fathers, and I've modeled my life around men that take care of their children. That's why I take care of mine, and unfortunately, I got to put her on child support. But hey, that's another story for another day. Anyways, I see a lot of men out there of every race, and I don't want to bring that in, but I mean I have to, because it's a narrative against black men that they don't take care of their children, when it's the complete opposite. Even the men that aren't in the household with their children, a lot of that is a heavy chunk of them that do still take care of their children. So I think that's a good idea, but the whole point of it is, I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn, but I don't think a woman could go through 9 months of being pregnant and then just give up without having some kind of emotional attachment or some kind of mental detachment.
You'll be surprised.
They do it all the time.
They do it all the time.
And again, like I said, without emotional attachment, or I mean, with emotional attachment, or without mental detachment. Like I don't see a mentally sane, emotionally stable woman doing that.
Some of them it's just they have it, they give it up, they don't see it, nothing, they don't touch it, and it's automatically gone.
Emotional detachment. Like I said, that's the emotional detachment that I'm talking about.
Yep.
Like if they emotionally attached to that baby and they have to give it, it's a have to. It's not because they want it to.
I mean, look at Teen Mom. When MTV first came out with the show Teen Mom, and the very first teen couple came out and they were pregnant, she decided to give up her baby. You know, it was hard for the boyfriend or whatever, but it's something that they both did on TV. And now, like, what is it, like 10, 15 years later, they are friends with, you know, the baby. They know her. They have a relationship with the child. Yeah. They have a relationship with the child. But you have a lot of kids, I mean, a lot of women that they give their kid up for money. They give their kid up. They don't want to look at it. They feel that if they don't look at it, like you said, the emotional attachment or the physical or whatever. So as soon as that baby is born, they turn their heads. I don't want to look at it, as if it never happened. So yeah, that's, at least they can say, I didn't have an abortion, but at least the child lived, I guess. Maybe clearing their conscience. I don't know.
It's just another form of human trafficking.
That part.
I'm just saying. Human trafficking. What difference does it make? They get paid to do that as well, but you're doing it without looking at the child. It's still, you're doing it for payment of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Or, you know, even like if a woman does get pregnant, she could like try to find someone who is trying to have children and maybe can't, and then she can give the baby to them if she doesn't want it. But then at the same time, like, look at all the children that we have in like foster care and orphanages and things like that, and the country makes it so hard to adopt.
This sounds like our What Would You Do from like 2 nights ago. I mean, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I heard
a lot of them that adopt with special handicaps and, problems, health issues and out of the country. That's why they go that far, because it's easier for them to adopt them.
Exactly. They make it easier to adopt foreign children or children from foreign soil than it is to adopt children that are right here.
And that's why it's also easier to abort.
System, and our orphan system is like very lackluster.
Right. That's what I was saying. Sometimes it's easier to abort than to bring another child into a foster system where there's no love anywhere. Not saying that, a child can't grow up in a good foster home, but you have some women that look at it that way. Yeah, it's just easier for me to get it done and over with instead of going through the whole 9 months and then having, whether I keep it or not, 18 years of something. Somebody may come looking for me later on in life. And what's the excuse I'm going to tell them? You know what I'm saying?
All right. Look at what if you have a crack baby? There's a lot of crack babies in the world.
90% of my sisters and
everywhere.
brothers were crack. My nieces and nephews and cousins were crack babies. So they all came out fine.
Wait till they. Yeah, but I'm saying is sometimes you have to wait a few years, or when some of them even as much as starting kindergarten to see if there's any learning defects, things like that. The comprehension skills. A lot of these things come into effect, but sometimes they aren't really as noticeable until they're older.
Yeah.
And then there's those people that say, oh, well, I don't want that child. There's something wrong with that baby. And they've had them for 6, 7, 8 years.
I was about to say, how are you going to know until they start developing? That could be your own kid. Then what you going to do?
I know, but people do it all the time. They just drop them off. Look at the fire departments in the states where they design that if you don't want your child, especially if it's an infant, there's a special emergency drop box for a baby, and it sets off, an alarm that there's a baby in here, and the department will respond to that to make sure the baby doesn't stay in this drop box, because it can't, and they rescue that baby, and they go accordingly, because people actually have infant drop boxes for a child they don't want.
True.
Yeah,
Did
true.
y'all know that? It ain't about taking them to the hospital because you're having a bad night.
Right.
It's about literally dropping this baby off and you're not coming back to get it.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought? You could just
I didn't know it was a drop box, but I do know it was considered a safe haven or whatever.
No, it's actually if you pull it out, you put the baby in there, and stuff like that, and then when it'll lock, what I'm saying, where somebody can't come by and see what you did up and get the baby out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I call it the lock box because it locks. But who in their lifetime would have ever thought you could just drop a baby off that you didn't want?
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that. They had them around the city.
Mm-hmm.
And the fire department would come and check on it. That's weird.
Yeah.
Like you just dropped off a package at UPS.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, here we got another child in the system. We have a woman that didn't want to have an abortion. That was totally her choice. But in the interim, we don't even know if the father even knows about this child.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even know who daddy is.
See, and
I think they should at least try to find out before they, I think they do that though, don't they? Before the child can be given up for adoption, they find out if the father is around and wants them, or if, there's a living relative that might want the child. That's what happened with one of our siblings that was adopted. The different state altogether found out that, at the time my father was living, and he was upset because he was like, did y'all ask his grandfather if he wants his grandson? And the people, they were like, well, no. And he was like, well, ask him, because I'd rather put him with family than strangers. And, we got him. We were able to, adopt him. And I think that should happen more often.
Yeah, I would think so.
If the child is going to be given up.
now with all the controversy of the Supreme Court, with all the controversy of the Supreme Court with the draft and everything, and you have the way that the Congress just tried to pretty much make it law, tried to codify it. Do you think that the way that it failed in the Senate, do you think it will ever become an actual law?
Yep.
You talking about drafting or abortion?
No, I'm thinking about.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about making a law, making Roe versus Wade a law. Do you think they'll ever be able to do that?
You mean like the reversal of it?
No, with the Democrats right now, they're trying to make it a law so that even if the Supreme Court do overturn it, it would still be a law. So that it wouldn't even matter what the Supreme Court say. Do you think they would ever make it a law to protect abortions?
The Supreme Court is the final ruler.
Yeah, but if they codify it in the law, that's what Congress tried to do today. They tried to vote it into law, and it got shut down by the Republicans and one Democrat. If they make it a law, it doesn't matter what the Supreme Court say. It can be challenged in the Supreme Court, but it's still a law.
But hold on. If the Supreme Court, which is your top court, says no,
that's not Connie. That's not what's happening, Connie. That's not what's happening right now. But that's not what's happening right now. What's happening is the Supreme Court is about to. Oh man!
You're not letting me finish.
Because that's not what's going on.
Are you ready?
Let her get her understanding. Let's hear.
You're not listening to what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay, go ahead.
What you got?
Jesus freaking Christ. If the Supreme Court says that states can rule and make their own laws concerning Roe and Wade, that's one thing. But if the Supreme Court and every given state comes together and says, that ain't going to happen, there's nothing you can do about that. It's the Supreme Court. But it has to be individualized.
Okay, now back to what the Congress is trying to do. They're trying to make it a constitutional law. If they do that, it doesn't matter what the Supreme Court do about Roe versus Wade, which is a case. If they overturn the case, then yes, the rights of abortion would return back to the states. But if Congress passes a law to say that Roe versus Wade or abortion is legal, is nothing the states can do about it.
That's the whole big deal with this being leaked.
But I don't think they can do that, can they?
Yes, that's what they're trying to do. That's exactly what they're trying to do. But the Republicans are blocking it. The Republicans are blocking it. If the Republicans got on board, then yes, they'll be able to do that.
Well, no, I'm saying, like, I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like that the Supreme Court would have to have an appeal of the decision. The appeal would have to be recognized. Then it would have to be overturned. Then they could make laws based off of the overturn.
That's not what's happening. What's happening is they are revisiting a case that was passed, that was ruled on in 1973 to see if they could change the ruling on that case. The case is case law. It's not constitutional law. Those are two totally different things. Abortion is not protected by the Constitution. It's only protected by the Supreme Court. So if the Supreme Court say they do not want to protect it anymore, then the Congress can choose to protect it.
He did what? What?
The fetus is protected by the 14th Amendment of the Constitution.
According to Roe versus Wade, if they overturn Roe versus Wade, it would no longer be protected by the 14th Amendment. That is what they have been saying on the news for the past week.
And that's the issue. Because apparently the Supreme Court, nobody wanted to get that information out. That's why it was such a big deal, because it was quote unquote leaked out. And the people are upset saying that nobody should have known about this yet.
If they were to overturn Roe versus Wade, then the fetus being protected by the 14th Constitution will be as if it never was protected by the 14th Constitution, because that's the case that made it be protected by the 14th Constitution, 14th Amendment. But now they're trying to make it so that it has its own constitutional law, meaning that it won't be interpreted as, but it will be definite, as in it will say the fetus is protected by the United States Constitution in the United States Constitution.
It's a whole big thing. Can you hear, Connie?
I can tell you that
Hello?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought I hung up.
Go ahead, Connie.
On Roe versus Wade, the Supreme Court decided two important things, and that was that the Constitution provides a fundamental right to privacy and protects a person's right to choose whether or not to have an abortion. And the other thing, the abortion is not absolute and must be balanced between the government's interest and protecting health and the prenatal right. That is the two things that came out of 1973 Roe v. Wade.
Right. So if they ever overturn Roe versus Wade, then none of that, it doesn't matter. None of that matters anymore, because what they're saying is that Roe versus Wade was wrong. That's what they're trying to say right now. If they say that Roe versus Wade was wrong, then all of that is thrown out the window. That's why they're trying to make it an actual law. Not just case law, it'll be constitutional law.
Well, the thing of it is, if they overturn this, all they're saying is the Constitution doesn't mean shit, just like they've done in a lot of other things, and we can change that.
Well, right now,
Welcome to America.
But this is the thing with that. It has been interpreted by case law. What the Congress want to do is enshrine it in constitutional law. If the Congress gets their way, then yes, it becomes definite constitutional law. But right now, it isn't. That's the issue. Now, that's what I'm asking. Do y'all think they ever will be able to make it actual constitutional law? Like, will it have its own amendment? Will it have its own article? Will it have its own section? So on and so forth. Will they actually put it as an amendment to the Amendment 14, where it actually says in Amendment 14 that abortion is legal?
I think that's what they're working on now.
Do you think
Amendment. That is your constitutional right.
Okay, well, if they overturn Roe versus Wade, it won't be a right anymore.
What'd you say, Mickey?
Well, no. What I'm saying is, can't they not make it up? Even if they overturn, I guess, Roe versus Wade, can they even overturn Roe versus Wade?
Yes, they can.
Yes.
Amendment, doesn't that?
It's not an amendment.
Okay,
That's
so
what I'm
even
saying.
okay.
It's not an amendment. It is
I know.
it's a
So
case
even
law.
if they overturn Roe versus Wade, making it a law, I mean, I don't know. Would they go that far to change the Constitution?
That they're not changing
you
it.
and your body and our.
But they're not.
But they're not changing it.
That's the
What
thing.
can they do about it?
But that's the thing. They're not changing the Constitution, because in the Constitution itself, the word abortion do not appear. What they have interpreted is that when the 14th Amendment was written, that if anything like abortion comes up, it is protected by the 14th Amendment. But until it says in the Constitution, abortion is legal, it is not necessarily a constitutional right. It's just interpreted as a constitutional right. Those are two totally different things. Like, your right to bear arms is a defined constitutional right. It cannot be interpreted in court. It's flat out. You have the right to bear arms. But it doesn't say you have the right to get an abortion. They're trying to change that now. That's what they was doing today. Congress wants to change it to where they add an amendment saying that abortion is legal, versus just saying Roe versus Wade says that abortion is legal. You see what I'm saying?
Do you want me to read to you what it says about that?
No, they've already did that today. I was watching on MSNBC, CBS. I've been watching it for the past week. That's exactly what they've been saying. They've been saying that if Roe versus Wade gets overturned, that abortion is no longer legal. It's no longer a constitutional right.
But that's not what I'm asking you.
Oh, what are you asking?
It's just your constitutional right.
What? Say what? We couldn't hear you, Connie.
It's also your right of privacy. I said it's what they call a due process clause of the 14th Amendment. They're probably not referring to it as that, but that is what the whole thing of Roe with the Supreme Court held in the constitutional right of privacy. It's also part of that. It's a due process process clause of the 14th Amendment of your constitutional right. So if they change that, that's what they're doing. They're also changing your privacy too.
Yeah, because it has something to do with HIPAA. They're changing the HIPAA laws as well.
You know, so
Which they could change the HIPAA laws because in HIPAA it says policy. It's not a law, it's a policy.
it's a federal law. HIPAA.
The federal law is to have a policy in place and they put HIPAA in place.
It's a federal law. You can be sued for violation of HIPAA federally. Come on, guys. Oh, I don't know who she's talking to.
Yeah, it's what it all boils down to pretty much is abortion is either going to be illegal or it's going to be legal. And the way Roe versus Wade is going, it's like they're going to make it illegal. They want to get rid of it, wash their hands of it, and let the states do whatever they want to do. And now it's going to be up to the states.
I think they're going to try to eliminate it as much as possible with all given states because that also involves that privacy issue of due process.
Okay.
Your 14th Amendment will be abolished if they overturn this, among other things as well. But I think there's a lot more to it than that because this has been going on since 1891.
Yeah, Roe v. Wade wasn't set in stone. They've always been looking at addressing it and going back to it.
I think they have better things to do right now.
You would think so. I mean, you see we got war on the brink and, we got starvation and everything else, but yet they still want to rule over a woman's body. Now, had it been a man, it would have been done and over with. Had it been, men can't have sex to have babies. They can't procreate. Then it would have been a big issue that would have been dealt with.
Now y'all know damn well y'all wouldn't have settled for that.
Temporarily sterilize people until you actually the government feels that you can support and mentally and physically and economically support a child, and then they allow you to go in and have sex to have a baby.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like you give men vasectomies until they're ready to have. They get it while they're babies, like circumcisions, and then when they're old enough, they can have their tubes reversed, and then they can start. You're always going to have your sperm. Even with the reversal of a vasectomy, your sperm are going to grow back.
And
your tubes are going to grow back together.
You also said about getting your tubes tied. Y'all can have that same process.
No.
Yes,
our surgery is more evasive because it's a surgery. Yours is a 5-minute. No, it's not a surgery. You're not going under the. We used to do vasectomies in the clinic.
I had that same conversation with another friend of mine. And it's like, okay, just why should I have my son?
You don't have to. That's the thing. Y'all don't force to have this shit. Y'all are talking about forcing men to have this shit. That's what I'm having an issue with. I don't see the government going around forcing y'all to have hysterectomies and getting your tubes tied though. Y'all choose to get on birth control. Y'all choose to get on these type of things. Why can't it be a choice for the men? That's all I'm saying. Why can't it be a choice for the men?
What is that? Who's chopping something?
I don't know.
Sorry.
They can have, what is it, China or Japan? That you're only allowed to have 2 children, and after that you have to be sterilized? What country is that?
China.
Well, that was a while ago. It used to be China.
They just overturned that a few years ago. But even now, they still kind of enforce it, but they can't. They took it out of law.
Well, look at how many years that's been going on.
Yeah, that was decades.
Right.
That was decades.
Yeah, there's a lawsuit right there.
Can you imagine being under the floor, an under the floor baby? Oh, that ain't nothing to laugh at.
You're great.
Listen to Connie.
Oh my God.
But with that being said, though, why don't China have all these issues when it comes to abortion? They don't have any abortion law fiascos or controversies or none like that, and they are known for telling people that, you got to throw your baby out the window or some shit.
Right. Well, because it's always been a policy.
They probably don't, because as soon as they find out that somebody, as soon as they find out that somebody is pregnant, they already got 2 kids, they're going to get rid of it anyway. So they don't need a law.
Well, not only that, and if the firstborn isn't a boy,
Yeah. It has to be a boy. And if they
So,
don't, they
if
got to
it's a
kill
girl,
every girl
what do
until
you
they
do?
get a boy. Well, used
how
to.
barbaric is that?
Man. The political choices ones have to make.
That dates back. Way back there. That's been a long time thing. Shoot, King Henry VIII had 6 wives, all because he didn't get a son from the first one, so the first 5.
Can you imagine being a
Because
president
he
running on
didn't
that
like it
issue?
because of him.
Exactly, right? He didn't get a son until his 5th wife. And he managed to divorce a wife, kill a wife, everything. And then he got a wife and had a son, and that was the one that was his favorite.
Damn
But
patriarchal
the
society.
male is the one that determines the sex of the child. It isn't the woman.
Exactly.
I don't think they were worried about the sex.
Frustrated with that.
They were just trying to see who was going to take over the kingdom. They wanted a son.
I'm disgusted.
Yeah, because they didn't think women could run a kingdom. And that, I used to watch talk shows and just really be frustrated with that because, the men would be like, oh, well, she got beat up or this happened and that happened because she didn't give me a son. I just wanted to call the show and be like, well, give her a Y chromosome if you want a boy. We got X's. I wanted to so bad.
All right, so now with that being said, that China was these people was just trying to get a male person to take over their household. That's why they kept getting rid of these babies. Why do you think that the Republicans are trying so hard to outlaw abortion? Like, what is it about abortion that they feel like? And it got to be something deeper than they just want to control women's bodies. I mean, they got so many other ways that they could control anybody's body. But they're choosing abortion. Why do y'all think that? What is so special about abortion?
It's murder.
I guess because they want more mouths to feed that they don't feed. I don't know.
Damn.
$33 billion, old boy running the country for this almost on the edge war. But we still got people starving here, so maybe they just want to feed more people that they can't feed. I don't know. Makes no sense. I don't think I think the government is fine for certain things, but then they should stay within their limits.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. I think isn't it partially because Republicans are traditionally conservative, and conservatives, tend to, think in that sense, life begins at conception and, things like that. So maybe that's why. And, religion, they could be, thinking religion-wise.
Now,
what committee is it that only shows up 3 times a year and they get made go for $100,000? I want that job.
yeah, now I get the whole fact that the Republicans are claiming to be conservatives, but the thing with the conservatives is that they're always conservative until it comes to buying bigger and better guns for the military. So are they really conservative? I mean, I don't think that they're trying to keep conservative values when it comes to abortion since they're fighting so hard.
Traditionally conservative. Maybe they're conservative when it suits them. I don't know.
It's only when it's convenient for them.
And abortion is convenient for them?
Hey, you got to look at the bigger picture.
I am trying to.
I guess I'm looking at the vote control or something. I don't know. Because surely it's not about, we want to keep the welfare rate down or we want to keep the student loans down or, clearly it's not that. It's just so many things again, and that's why it was leaked. Because we don't know the real reason as to why they're bringing this up again or as to why it has yet to be solidified in stone yet.
Right.
You've had all these other
we're gonna end
justices.
up living in a dystopian society, like what happened to Monday.
Right.
You seen that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's
That's
like,
what we gonna end up
why? So.
I don't know. They looked at Roe versus Wade in 1992. They didn't change nothing on then. And then I think, did it go back in 2016? Was there something about it in 2016 with the Supreme Court?
I don't know if it was 2016 or 2017, but yeah, it's been recent. It's been the past 5 years. This is what I'm saying. Roe v. Wade has always been in the news since it's been in the news, but they'll let it die down and they'll bring something else in to take the attention off.
It usually happens around midterms.
Right, and now they're back in the news again. And this time it needs to be I think they're trying to make it a permanent decision. And I really don't think the Supreme Court wants to have anything to do with it. This is one of the first...
I'm sure they don't. They already made their decision.
Right. This is one of the first court cases that went all the way to Roe v. Wade. I mean, that went all the way to the Supreme Court, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
This is actually one of the first time, and the only reason that it's being revisited now in the Supreme Court is the simple fact that there's now 4 conservative justices, meaning that if all 4 come together and decide to overturn Roe versus Wade, it's going to happen.
And that could have been a setup from the beginning to finally turn this over once and for all and wash our hands of it and let it be part of the state.
Again, abortion ain't for me. I can't do it. But why is it anybody's official or political place to tell anyone what they can or cannot do with their personal body?
That's the government. What do you think happens when you're in the military? When you're in the military, you're property of the government.
That's your government property.
Of the government.
That's different. Y'all make that choice.
Yeah, we did.
Y'all make that choice. I don't think that, some random pregnant woman walking around the street who may have been in a situation or may not have been and does not want to keep that child. Well, you know what? I'm not government property and I'm not trying to have this child. Maybe she can't care for it properly. Who knows what the situation is? I don't understand why it's anybody else's place.
You know what I feel? I'm going to be honest with this one because I think that we've lost our way on this. It shouldn't go to the government level on the federal level. It shouldn't go to a government level on the state level. It shouldn't even go to a government level on the local level. But it should always have been a tribal level. It should always been a familial level. It should have been always between the family. We are not even close as a family to even bring up these discussions with each other in your own family members. So, and I'm not saying that the government supposed to have got involved, but they saw an opportunity to get involved in something that they really shouldn't have had no business getting involved in the first place. But nobody else was. It's just like the police coming into the community, and doing whatever they feel like is necessary because the people in the community ain't policing each other. If the community policed each other, then the police wouldn't have to come into the community as much. And I'm not trying to say again that the government should have a say in the matter. I'm saying that they shouldn't. But if they're not, then the families need to get a lot more closer knit. They need to get a lot closer together so that whenever this situation comes up, everybody in the family, especially all the mother figures, the aunties, the grandmas, the moms, everybody, the nieces, the cousins, everybody who that person is close to has a say so, but they blocked all the people that they're close to away from this decision because they could get a favorable decision from somebody who is not related to them. And I think that needs to stop.
I don't know how that'll work either. There's a situation with the things that go on today, and then there was the same thing going back to King Henry VIII. There was a situation like that with them too. Mary Boleyn wanted nothing to do with the king. She was already married to somebody else, but her family got together, and their patriarch, they all decided that she needed to get in good with the king so that they can increase their wealth and power and position in society.
Now, listen to the circumstances.
And then he married her sister.
But listen to the circumstances of all that. All that was all royalty. That was business. I'm not talking. See, that was government. All that was government that you just said. No, not necessarily. If it stays in the family, it just stays in the family. And it's a lot less that's hanging in the balance versus being a king. I mean, you got a public image to uphold versus if we all these single family, like you, your mom, your sister, your uncle, and I'm not talking about government officials. I'm talking about a regular family that's out here living day to day. If all the regular families actually started doing this, then the government, those people, those kings, it wouldn't even matter what they had done because they won't be able to set the precedent because the people have said, no, we'll handle this in house. We don't need your help. We got this.
I think outliers make that hard still, even today. It wasn't long ago that Law and Order SCU pulled a case from the headlines, something that actually happened, and made an episode about it. This family, this man and this woman, they wanted a big family. The wife reached a point where she could no longer carry children. So then he got his daughter pregnant.
Wait,
she
what?
was not allowed to have an abortion because they didn't want her to. They wanted more kids. They wanted to keep it in the family. And because her parents made that decision, this 14-year-old girl is carrying a child of incest. That's crazy to me.
Now is incest against the law there?
Here is just the law.
Okay, now you see where the law should get involved. Now you see where the government should get involved. They crossed the line and broke a law. The government here is to enforce that law. So I'm not saying that they made the right decision. I'm saying they made a fucked up decision. But at the end of the day, where do you want the government to step in at? Because if they have to step in on that family, they're going to step in on every family. And that one family should not be the narrative of every family out there.
I don't think they should step in when it comes to a personal decision that is not affecting the rest of society. If somebody gets an abortion right now, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm still going on my day to day.
Right, which is why I believe the government. But if let's say it was your daughter when he got an abortion, that wouldn't affect you.
Depending on how old she was, yeah. But that's different. That's what that's my child. And at that point, it can become a conversation. But ultimately, and depending on my daughter's age, it's still up to my daughter.
Right, but it's still you would like for her to come to you, right?
Yes, I would. I would hope that she would trust me and her dad enough to come to us and be like, "Hey, I'm pregnant, and I don't feel like I should keep it," or "Hey, I'm pregnant and I do want to keep it."
And that's as far as it should go.
It becomes a family decision, and I don't think the government has anything to do with that.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's what he's saying about keeping it out of the government. What you say, Connie?
And then it goes. Here's the thing too. I think the unity of the family thing is beautiful. There ain't nothing better. But you can't get people to even sit down and discuss sex with their children.
True.
Even the true need for your body parts.
Breach.
Exactly.
Full of eggs and juice not to get pregnant. You can't use saran wrap as a condom. I mean, come on, right?
Wait, you can't use saran wrap as a condom? What about a tongue condom?
The schools do not truly get involved in what these kids. Now, my kids growing up, they knew the street section of it, and they knew the true educational.
Do they even still teach sex ed in school?
It's weird now. I think they do. They do, but not like I tell them the truth of things because the schools here they have sex education, but not in the true sense that I feel they should be a little more explicit about it.
I feel like parents should be able to explain that to their kids, and you're right, it's not happening enough.
Because you got 9 and 10 and 11-year-old girls that are getting pregnant. People are saying, oh, no, that's too young. But, bro, if you're old enough to bleed, you're old enough to breed. And these young girls now are starting their periods at 8, 9, and 10 years old. They're not children anymore. They're not little girls. They're coming into puberty a lot more sooner, and they need to be taught, whether it's at the school or usually, hopefully, at home first, so they can be comfortable, so they can tell somebody what's going on. That way, if they got molested or if they got raped, or, they are a 10 or 11-year-old little girl coming to you talking about, I don't know why my stomach is hurt and it's growing and getting bigger. Yeah, because you're pregnant. Now you have to take that child and make a life-threatening decision, whether it can save her life or whether if she gets an abortion, or whether if she keeps the baby and y'all raise the baby together. That could even mess her up in the future for having any kids in the future. So
my grandson had a session, and this is the male teacher that was not telling the truth about women's menstrual cycles and how it all works and how it all interchanges with the male. The teacher was totally off. And I told him, I don't even know what the hell he's even talking about. So I told him the truth and how it works. That's pretty bad when you have a teacher teaching sex ed and they don't even know what the hell they're talking about.
Right.
I've had 2 kids. I know what it takes to have babies.
Exactly.
Maybe at 40, he was a virgin.
Which I always thought was funny, because how are you going to have teachers that don't have children to talk about sex ed to children when they got their parents at home that obviously know how them little bastards got here?
Because if the parents at home aren't telling the kids.
We just called that child a bastard.
You damn right. FTK. Come on, baby.
FTK.
You know, fuck them. But I mean,
you hate mail now.
Right.
Hey, send all that hate mail to guhtababy@gmail.com. I will gladly respond.
But I'm just saying, a lot of stuff starts at home.
Yeah.
Sex education is one. If you don't, it's your responsibility when you have a child. You teach them all that you can teach them. I'm not saying show them. I'm saying tell them.
And talking about abortion should be a part of talking about, because it ain't no birds and bees no more. It should be a sex education talk with your children. And so when you're talking to them, abortion or adoption should be right along the lines with that talk.
I think somebody came up with a good explanation when they said it's not the birds and the bees no more. It's the birds and the bees and the hornets and the bees the birds that want to be bees and the bees that don't want to get rid of their stingers, and it's a talk now. I mean, I think we actually need to write a book.
Get rid of their stingers.
I mean, it's like my daughter. I said, if you decide you like this boy enough that you want to share your body, because now mind you, from a very young age, before kindergarten, she was taught about her body. Mm-hmm. We didn't wait until she started her period. Okay, we already had all that down pat. So I said, if you decide that you want to do something like that, just give me 30 days notice, because I'm going to go put you on the pill. If you're going to play adult games, be adult responsible is all I'm telling you.
Because you will win adult prizes.
Like they used to do back in the day and all that crap. It's an adult thing. And you have to be adult responsible, and when you want children, you have children when you want them. This is not a game.
Yep.
I told, had that conversation. I've had that conversation with my little sisters and stuff before too. You don't want children? Protect yourself. If you don't have protection and you don't need it, don't do it. And if you don't have protection, you better.
And you can't go around. People cannot go around. You can get. This is so. We need to do a show about this. You can go to the health department and get all the needles you need, syringes to shoot up, because they don't want you to use the same one. But they also have condoms there, people.
Yes.
And you can get those for free as well.
You used to be able to get free pregnancy tests and free free screenings, free exams.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's no excuses
All kinds of
anymore.
stuff. No, if you're worried, put 2 on. Have him put 2 on. They even have female condoms. They have those, all kinds of stuff they can do more. But
Right.
a lot of it is free if you can't afford it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So,
And and even with protection, sometimes accidents still happen at that point, and then at that point you have a decision to make, not the government.
but yeah. But yet, here's another thing. Because he tells you, oh, I don't like how it feels with the condom on, then don't do it with him.
You know what? Exactly.
Yeah.
I
How he has a
so
lifetime
quick.
commitment now.
And gentlemen, let me go ahead and give y'all some advice. Since these ladies giving these wonderful girls some advice, these wonderful ladies giving these girls some advice. Man, the only advice I got to you, I already gave it to you earlier in the show. Be careful where you stick your willy. Don't be up in everybody's nilly, for real. Because if you don't know if you like this girl to the point where you think you want to be stuck with her for 18 years, then you don't need to be even chancing it. Because this is what's wrong with us, man. We think with our dicks and then want to be like, get all this sympathy whenever we fuck up, and then we stuck with this girl or because we got some wonderful women on the show, but they got to even admit that there's some fucked up girls out there.
Yes, it is.
So make sure that you don't get yourself stuck in a position where you with this fucked up girl for 18 years of your life. No, fuck that. For the rest of your life, because
It's
that
not just
child,
18 years.
the 18 years is just how long you're gonna be paying her.
Well, here's the deal, too, SBC. Why these dudes go up and go, oh, yeah, she's a bitch, I can't stand her. Well, she wasn't a bitch when you were sticking your dick in her.
And that's the best, but no, that's the messed up part. Hold on, let me talk about that. Let me talk about that because technically they was talking about, hey man, I got this new bitch number last night, man, and she already hit me up on the text messages, and they already, they sending me pussy shots and all types of shit, man. I just met this bitch last night, nigga. Look how you talking about her. Why would you want to go put your thing up in something like that you already degrading from the fucking jump?
So you can be on Lauren Lakes talking about, well, she was with everybody and she was with you too. And you are the daddy.
Yep.
So once again, be careful, because you cannot use abortion for birth control anymore.
Exactly. And you fellas that's talking about she was with everybody, why would you want her?
If you just really don't want kids, like, I'm taking extra measures. If you just really don't want kids. Like, I remember I had a teacher of mine, I'll never forget it. He really didn't like kids, but he was a teacher. And I would ask him all the time, like, why are you teaching? You do not like children. And he's like, well, it's a job,
You don't want to deal with the motherfucker 24/7 though.
Yeah, he came to work one day, and he was just the angriest. And I'm like, yo, what's wrong with you? What is the problem? And he's like, oh, my wife is pregnant. And I was like, he's like, I don't even understand this. And I'm like, you know how babies are made, right? This is like 7th grade. I'm like, you know how babies are made, right? He was like, shut up, get out of here. What's the real? You don't want kids, then make sure you don't have them, sir.
Right.
You already know you don't like nobody.
Too funny. I think they need to leave the thing alone. For real.
I think they need to leave it alone also.
Now the gentleman. Well, I want to say, because we actually got to come to it. We've been on over hours, so in a minute I'm gonna let everybody give their last minute. Whatever they want to say to close out. But I do want to say this one thing. It's my last piece of advice for every man out there. If you want to see what the pussy is like, I suggest doing one thing: get a real good visual shot of her. Embed that motherfucker into your mind. Go into the bathroom. Think about her. Yank your dick. That's how the pussy feel right there. Get your nut. Then go back to talk to her.
What?
You trying to tell us that our pussy feels like a man's hand is on his dick?
Right.
All I'm telling him is he's gonna nut just like he would nut fucking the girl. He a nut fucking his hand just like he a nut fucking his girl. So yes, nigga, go in there, strike that motherfucker out, and then go back and talk to her because you might not even like her after that.
How you figure that? It's just gonna make him want to get it more.
No, because every time a man has sex with a woman, he comes to his senses.
I am getting a divorce from you tonight.
Good.
I know.
I'm back on the market. God damn it, I'm back on the market. Shit.
Connie, I agree with you on this one. I'm like,
gentlemen,
what?
the shit works. Trust me, it works every time. That's why I don't have babies by women everywhere, because the simple fact, I go and I jack my dick, and then I look at her again, and if I ain't interested no more. I ain't interested. I see her for who she is now, because see, I was just horny when I was talking to her at first. I got that shit out the way. Now I see exactly who she is. And see, that's why they don't want you to see. You don't. That's why they negating it over here. They don't want you to see them exactly who they are.
That's not necessarily true, because a lot of people wouldn't have the kids that they got now.
Erica, did he do that with you?
You know he did not. No.
You think she knows that?
I know that.
Slap the living shit out of him when we're done here. Okay?
Exactly.
Y'all better ask her what I do every morning.
Whatever.
I get mine out the motherfucking way.
That's good.
I know it's good.
You know what the whatever means.
But gentlemen, for real though, that is how you actually stop from having all these goddamn babies by these girls you did not want to have a baby by. I guarantee you it works, and I guarantee you it's a lot of men out there that would vouch for, because this already been a discussion. This been a discussion in the men's community. Gentlemen, jack your dick first, then go back to talk to her, see if you want to have sex with her then. All right, but anyways.
They're not into carjacking.
Huh?
What if they're not into what?
What'd you say, Connie?
What if they're not into that?
Well, hey, if they ain't into that, then they can chance it all they want. I'm just saying, they'll be right along with them numbers. There's a lot of numbers out there, niggas who don't do that shit and got babies by. Maybe they didn't want to have babies by.
Just not do it at all.
Anyways.
Just don't even do it.
But we got to go ahead and close it out before we actually get cut off by the timer.
Yeah, because it's almost an hour and a half. Great show, ladies. Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming on.
Thank y'all for coming on. And opinions.
I definitely want to give y'all a chance to give a shout out. We're going to start with Connie. Connie, who you want to give a shout out? What you want to give the shout out to the world with?
I'm going to give a shout out to you because you're my favorite jackass.
Listen to Connie.
You really put me up, but I
love it.
Ready, Mickey, what about you?
I don't know if I have a shout out as much as I'd just like to say to everybody, male and female alike, you know, the entire human body, protect yourself, educate yourself.
Yeah.
And go from there, and then we don't have to, and then hopefully we won't have to, you know, fight laws to regulate our bodies. And if we do have to, we'll know what we're talking about.
Right. All right. Well, thank you for calling in, Mickey and Connie. I'd like to give my shout out. Tonight, I would like to thank my son, C. Greasy. He won to be MC for a year for West Texas Comic-Con. And it was about voting, and he made a video about what he can do and, you know, how he can be an asset to this West Texas Comic-Con, and he got it. So be on the lookout for him. See Greasy, he's doing his thing. So I just want to say I'm proud of him. Love you. And y'all, like Mickey said, y'all just be safe. You know, whether you male, female, gay, straight, bi, tri, you know, non-binary, binary, he, them pronouns, whatever it is, you still have to take care of you. And you have to be safe with yourself first, because nobody else is. And you don't want nobody telling you what you can do with your own body. Like she said, with the military, we're military, so we signed a contract for the government to let the government tell us what to do. But now that we're not active duty anymore, we can get some of our so-called quote unquote rights and privileges back.
Privileges?
You know, but let's all just, you know, one love and be safe and careful out there.
All right, all right.
That is good.
Well, ladies, I actually want to thank y'all for coming on because, you know, in this whole situation, it don't matter no more than what y'all think about the situation, you know. Hopefully with this show, we'll be able to persuade some people or get some people more on board. I mean, right now they protesting a lot, so hopefully, you know, a positive outcome will come up out of this. But I want to thank you all again, and I also want to thank y'all because y'all are the mothers of civilization. Y'all are the ones that continue to create a possibility for humanity to stay alive. Without y'all, I mean, us men would just be jacking off in the dirt. For real. But I just want to thank y'all for that, and I just want to thank y'all for y'all guidance and everything y'all have done for the children that y'all have raised. Y'all helped them create a world, or they're going to inherit a world that they're going to only make better. So they just hope the best for them all. So thank you all, and I hope everybody else out there have a good night, and y'all think about this, and also like, share, and subscribe to us, and share us to all your favorite family and friends out there on all your social media channels. We're on all your streaming services, iHeart, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, and more. So make sure y'all find us and follow us, but we are out. And this here is Stoneface Priest here on BOS Says Reggae Hour. You already know what it is.
BOS Southside
jumping and scanning.
that you know reggae music sweet. Take it to the riverside. The music just a echo in the trees like. I love the sound of reggae music in the morning. And when the sun is setting, the sound of the distant Nayabingi, what a glorious moment.
Southside Boss Radio. Southside Boss Radio.